Okay, welcome back. We are going to continue the reading of the book called Make Today Count by John C. Maxwell. I hope you enjoyed the reading that we had yesterday, and today we begin with the first chapter of this book, which is titled as Attitude. If you remember uh, the 12 areas of success which he had mentioned, he had called them the daily dozen. It's basically something that we do on a daily basis that we're going to test. I'm doing it on a new recorder, a new software. I hope it works well. In any case, I also believe that you will be getting your own book, or at least be inspired to get your own book as you're listening to this recording. I highly recommend that you get this one. It's a very good book. All right, let's begin. The title of this first chapter is Attitude. Now, there is a quote that I remember from the word attitude is that your altitude is always determined by your attitude. I mean, our attitudes decide how high or how low we are in our lives, how successful or unsuccessful that we are in our lives. I think that's really a great thing to think about as we begin this chapter. So let's begin reading this chapter. Chapter 1, Attitude. I discovered the importance of attitude in 1964 when I was 17 years old. My high school basketball coach, Don Neff, took me aside at the beginning of my senior season and told me that he wanted me to be the captain of the team. I was excited, but I was also a little surprised because I knew that my teammate John Thomas was a better player than I was. But then Coach Neff said something that explained it. John, he said, you have the best attitude on the team, and it influences the other players. Just a few weeks later, I was named Citizen of the Month at my school. Why? Once again, it was because of my attitude. My teachers said they loved my attitude. Then it sank in. My attitude was making a difference in my life, and I was making an impact on the people around me. That's when I made my attitude decision. I'm going to keep a positive attitude and use it to influence others. Many people in this world mistakenly believe their attitude is set. It has become such a habit for them that they believe it can't be changed. They see it as one of the cards of life they've been dealt, such as height or a history of cancer in the family, but that's not true. Making the decisions to choose and display the right attitude daily. The next section. Your attitude is a choice. If you desire to make your day a masterpiece, then you need to have a great attitude. It's not good now. You need to change it. Make the decision. Here's how. Number 1, take responsibility for your attitude. After my wife, Margaret, and I had been married for 4 or 5 years, we went to a conference for pastors where I had been asked to be one of the speakers. Margaret also agreed to do a breakout session for spouses. Speaking is not a passion for her as it is for me. She does a good job, but she doesn't really enjoy it that much. I wanted to support her, so I attended her session. During the Q&A time, a woman stood up and asked, "Does John make you happy?" I have to say, I was really looking forward to hearing Margaret's answer. I'm an attentive husband, and I love Margaret dearly. What kind of praise would she lavish on me? Does John make me happy? She considered. No, he doesn't. I looked to see where the closest exit was. The first 2 or 3 years we were married, she continued, I thought it was John's job to make me happy. But he didn't. He wasn't mean to me or anything. He's a good husband. But nobody can make another person happy. That was my job. As a young newlywed in her early 20s, she figured out something some people never learn. Each of us must take responsibility for our own attitude. If you want today to be a good day, you need to take charge of the way you look at it. I really think it's a great point. I think our lives are filled with these moments when we either blame others or uh, we just are too hard on ourselves to see the happiness that we want in our life, but we don't really remember that it doesn't really come by our own efforts, or it doesn't depend on others. Actually, it's a choice that we make. It's a choice to take the responsibility to understand, evaluate, and analyze our situation, or where we are at the moment. And that takes a good attitude, actually. There's a lot to think about. Very well said. Let's continue. Point number 2, decide to change your bad attitude areas. I have read the Peanuts comic strip for years, and I've always been a big fan. I recall one strip in which Lucy announces, "Boy, do I feel crabby." Her little brother Linus, always anxious to relieve tension at home, responds, "Maybe I can be of help. Why don't you just take my place here in front of the TV while I go and fix you a nice snack?" Sometimes we all need a little pampering to help us feel better. Then Linus brings her a sandwich, a few chocolate chip cookies, and some milk. "Now, is there anything else I can get you?" he asks. "Is there anything I haven't thought of?" "Yes, there's one thing you haven't thought of," Lucy answers. And then she suddenly screams, "I don't want to feel better." For many years, the late Charles Schulz drew Peanuts. That always seemed to be one of Lucy's problems. She didn't want to change in the areas where she had a bad attitude, and she had a lot of them. Many people are like her. I mentioned that there are things in your life you cannot choose, such as your parents, where you were born, or your race. But your attitude is something you can change. And just about everybody has at least a few areas in their thinking that could use some help. If you want to have a better day, then you need to go after those areas. Beautiful. Very well explained. Change is a choice. Changing our attitudes is a choice. It all depends upon how we are going to make those choices, how we're going to decide that I'm going to change, I'm going to not remain stuck or addicted to this particular emotion or area of my life. I need to change, and that needs a lot of self-reflection and just going to someone who can just show you those blind spots. Very interesting. Let's go to point number 3. Think, act, talk, and conduct yourself like the person you want to become. If you've been to any kind of class reunion 10 or more years after graduation, then you've probably been surprised by the transformation of one of your former classmates. The misfit who became a famous lawyer, the plain Jane who blossomed into a movie star, or the geek who founded a major corporation. How do such transformations occur? Those people changed how they thought of themselves. You saw them as they were, or how you thought they were. They saw themselves as they could be. Then they learned to act like and acquire the skills of the people they want to be. The transformation usually takes time. Often, it's barely noticeable to those who see them every day. Just as parents don't see changes in babies the way others do. But to someone who hasn't seen them in 10, 20, or 30 years, the transformation seems miraculous, like a butterfly from a caterpillar. If you desire to change yourself, then start with your mind. Believe you can improve, that you can change into the person you desire to be. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." If your thinking changes, then everything else can follow. What a stark reality. Remember, the point is think, act, talk, and conduct yourself. It's like a step-by-step process. The Bible says in the book of Proverbs that what a man thinks is what he or she becomes. I'm just paraphrasing that particular passage of the Bible. And many other philosophical thoughts have said that a man is what he thinks, So I believe that what we think leads to how we act, how we talk, and how we conduct ourselves. Very well said. Let's continue. So now we move to point number 4. That's place a high value on people. One of the secrets of maintaining a good attitude is valuing people. You can't dislike people and have a good attitude at the same time. Think about it. Have you ever met anyone who has always treated people badly but had a positive attitude? Likewise, you cannot have a bad attitude and encourage others at the same time. Encouraging others means helping people, looking for the best in them, and trying to bring out their positive qualities. That process drives negative thoughts right out of your head. Your interaction with others sets the tone of your day. It's like the music of your life. When your interaction with others is poor, it's like having to listen to a cacophonous music. But when you place a high value on people and you treat them well, it's like listening to a sweet melody as you go through your day. Develop a high appreciation for life. Point number 5. I like point number 4, that people do matter. Mangoes never grow on thistles and thorns are not produced on a mango tree. The same way, how we treat others is a very simple principle of how we are actually treating ourselves, or the way that we have a perspective about life, about our own thought process, how positive or how negative it is. Again, going back to point number 3, just combines together. The thinking and the doing comes together when we actually place high value on people. We are kind to them. We are understanding, compassionate towards others. Let's continue. Point number 6, develop a high appreciation for life. Have you ever known people who complain about everything? Their soup's too hot, their bed's too cold, their vacation's too short, their pay's too low. You sit side by side with them at a magnificent banquet, and while you enjoy every morsel, they tell you what's wrong with each and every dish. Such people don't appreciate life no matter how good it gets. A friend emailed to me the story of a very together and independent 92-year-old lady who was moving into a nursing home. Since she was legally blind and her husband of 70 years had passed away, the move was her only option. She waited in the lobby of the facility for a long time before finally being told that her room was ready. As she was escorted through the corridor, her attendant described the room down to the curtains hung on the windows. "I love it," the elderly lady enthused. "But you haven't even seen the room yet. Just wait," the attendant responded. "That doesn't have anything to do with it," she replied. "Happiness is something you decide on ahead of time. Whether I like my room or not doesn't depend on how the furniture is arranged. It's how I arrange my mind." Appreciation isn't a matter of taste or sophistication, it's a matter of perspective. John Wooden said, things turn out best for the people who make the best of the way things turn out. The place to start is with the little things. If you can learn and to appreciate them and be grateful for them, you'll appreciate the big things as well as everything in between. How beautifully described. As we develop a high appreciation for life, as we are thankful for different things, it really makes sense, I would honestly confess I've been thoroughly complaining person myself. I complain a lot, and I've learned through hard experiences that complaining never makes things better. As I was eating my food today, I just felt to really thank God that I had the food in front of me to at least have, no matter what kind of food it is. Clothes to wear, the privilege to be educated, to be in a place where I can have a house, a shelter over my head, a roof over my head. It's really a great thing to be grateful and to have a high appreciation for life rather than just to wait for things to work out. I really like what this particular point has mentioned. It's fantastic. A good way to end this particular section. Now we move to the next section, that's managing the discipline of attitude. If you want to benefit from the possibilities of a positive attitude, you need to do more than just make the decision to be positive. You also have to manage the decision. For me, in the area of attitude, it means one thing. Every day I will make the adjustments necessary to keep my mind right. If this is new territory for you, you may be wondering how to do it. Here are some guidelines to help you on your way. Number 1, recognize that your attitude needs daily adjustments. I've discovered that a person's attitude does not naturally or easily stay positive. For example, a lifelong attitude weaknesses I've had is my impatience with people. It was a problem even back when I was young. In school, when the teacher set aside a day to review before the final exam, I got dirty looks when I asked if we got it the first time, do we still have to come for the review? And I still fight impatience. Every day I ask myself, have I been impatient with someone? When I have, I apologize to the person. I have had to do that more times than I'd like to admit. Like any discipline, your attitude will not take care of itself. That's why it needs to be attended to daily. The stronger your natural inclination to be pessimistic or critical, the more attention your attitude will need. Begin each day with an attitude check and watch for red flags signaling that your attitude might be in trouble. Recognition, reflection, it works. Point number 2, find something positive in everything. Not long ago, I came across a prayer that I thought was wonderful. It said, "Dear Lord, so far today I'm doing all right. I have not gossiped, lost my temper, been greedy, grumpy, nasty, selfish, or self-indulgent. I have not whined, cursed, or eaten any chocolate. However, I am going to get out of bed in a few minutes and I will need a lot more help after that. Amen." Yeah, what a honest and practical prayer. Absolutely true. It may not always be easy, but if you try hard enough, you can find something good even in the midst of difficult situations. In Laugh Again by friend Chuck Swindoll explains that when Mother Teresa was asked the requirements of people assisting in her work with the destitutes in Calcutta, she cited 2 things: the desire to work hard and a joyful attitude. If someone could be expected to be joyful among the dying and the poorest of the poor, then certainly we can do the same in our situation. Point number 3, find someone positive in every situation. Nothing helps a person to remain positive like having an ally. The world is filled with negative people. In fact, they often flock together. But positive people are everywhere too. You'll often find them soaring above the negative people like eagles. When you do, seek them out. If you're having a hard time, get close and draft behind them the way racers do. If they're having difficulty, you be the one to go out front and make things easier. Two positive people are much better at fighting off the blues than someone going it alone. Such a true thing to say. In fact, that's something I wish on a daily basis for myself, to have a friend, to have someone positive that I can work with. But I think I need to change myself much more than desire that out of someone else first. I need to work on myself, be positive. Say something positive in every conversation. I've tried, that's point number 4, that say something positive in every conversation. I've tried to make it a habit to include positive comments in every conversation with others. It starts with those closest to me. When my wife looks beautiful, which is often, I tell her so. I compliment my children every time I see them, and I absolutely pour out praise every time I see my grandchildren. But I don't stop there. I sincerely compliment, praise, acknowledge, bolster, raise up, and reward people whenever I can. It's wonderful for me as well as for others. I highly recommend it, and I know you can learn to do it too. Point number 5. Remove negative words from your vocabulary. My father retired in his mid-70s, but he has spent his entire life in public speaking. He came from a modest background, so he was always working hard to learn and grow. When I was a kid, he used to pay my brother, Larry, and me 10 cents for every grammatical mistake we found him making when he was preaching. It was just one example of how he was constantly trying to improve himself. I suspect he also did it so that we would learn more about grammar ourselves. You can do a similar kind of thing when it comes to your attitude. You, or someone you enlist, can be on the lookout for negative words in your vocabulary so that you can try to eliminate them. Here's a list to get you started. Eliminate these words, say these instead. These are 2 different columns. The first column is eliminate these words. The second column is say this instead. The first word is I can't. Eliminate this and say this instead. I can. If only. I will. I don't think. I know. I don't have the time. I will make the time. Maybe. Absolutely. I'm afraid. I'm confident. I don't believe. I'm sure. You see the contrast between these 2 words, these 2 phrases and words? That's the only way to go forward. We have to keep working on ourselves consciously on these areas. If you continually look for and embrace the positive and eliminate the negative, you'll help yourself to begin thinking more positively every day. Point number 6. Express gratitude to others daily. Of all the virtues, gratitude seems to be the least expressed. How often do people go out of their way to thank you? How often do you receive a thank you note when you give a gift? More important, how often do you extend your thanks to others? In our culture of plenty, we tend to take things for granted. A few years ago, Oprah Winfrey encouraged her millions of TV viewers to keep a gratitude journal to help them appreciate life. Amy Vanderbilt, journalist and etiquette book author, said, "When we learn to give thanks, we are learning to concentrate not on the bad things, but on the good things in our lives. Thinking about the good things helps us to be grateful. Remaining grateful helps us to have a more positive attitude. And having a positive attitude prompts us to think about the good rather than the bad. It's a positive cycle that helps to fuel itself. Like I said, gratitude is quite important for our daily lives. It's what actually sets our attitude, and that attitude sets our altitude in life. Let's continue with the third section that says your attitude decision today. And that's the final section for today. Where do you stand when it comes to your attitude today? Ask yourself these three questions. Have I already made the decision to choose and display the right attitude daily? If so, when did I make that decision? What exactly did I decide? Let me help you by answering these questions myself. Let me be honest. Have I already made the decision to choose and display the right attitude daily? Well, not yet, but after reading this chapter, I do feel I need to make that decision. And so subsequently, the next two questions can only be answered if I make that decision. So tomorrow, I'd be able to share, have I done that or not? And so, when did I make the decision? I made it today after reading this book, reading this chapter. What exactly did I decide? I decided to have a positive attitude, to have an attitude of gratitude, to replace my negative words with positive affirmations, to place people high on value, to find someone positive, to say something positive, to express gratitude daily. That final section, that is I think that's if I'm not wrong, that's the fourth or the fifth section that says your attitude discipline every day. Based on the decision you made concerning attitude, what is the one discipline you must practice today and every day in order to be successful? I feel for myself, I think it's gratitude. Just to be thankful for what I have. Thankful to God, thankful to my family, thankful to everyone around me for the things that I have. And like I said, that small realization today when I was having food just helped me to recognize that these small things, when I realize them, it helps me to not only have a better attitude, but also lifts me up in my spirit and my mind to actually see things differently, to have a different perspective. All right, that's it for today. We'll continue reading this 12 plus part series. I hope it's going to be a blessing to all of you, an encouragement to all of you to read a book. And so let's continue to read together. Thank you. Have a blessed day ahead. Bye-bye.